Welcome to Emily Kate Made This. I am Emily Kate and I'm coming to you from Berlin in Germany. This is episode 11, so woo, double figures. Anyway, so today's episode is a finished object, a half finished object and some whips. Oh, and one sewing project. So let's get to it. The elephant in the room is my finished object and what I am wearing. So I am sure many of you will know what this is. This is the Ranunculus by Café Midori. It is knitted in some of my stash yarn and actually original yarn that came into my life when I started knitting, which is the Drops Nord. It's an alpaca, polyamide and wool blend, and a sport weight, I believe, because the first time I tried to use this I had no idea about weights of yarn and I just decided to use it for a sock and it did not work. An alpaca for a sock, what was I thinking? So it sat in my stash since then and I decided now is the time to use it. And I was a bit dubious about the colour because I wasn't sure if this was really my colour. I'm still not 100% sure. I love the jumper, but I don't know what colours suit me particularly. So you tell me. And I combined it with a silk mohair from Filcolana. This is Tilia, and it's the ice blue colour. This one is colour 08. So I put these two together and I whipped up this bad boy. So it is made on 6mm needles. I did briefly talk about this, I think, on my last episode, but anyway, I tried to remember what I had done on my other two ranunculi and I couldn't. I never wrote down any notes and I paid the price. So I started on a 4.5, I think, for my neck and it came out like this. It was so tiny. So then I went up to a 5, I think, and that also didn't work. And then I went up to a 6 and it's a tubular cast on. I didn't do the one that's in the pattern. I did Andrea Mowry's one. And yeah, it went well up until the very last stitch that fell off and then I unwound the thing. Casting this on was a nightmare, but after that, smooth sailing. So I continued on the 6mm. I could probably have done 5.5 or gone down a bit because as the pattern is, it's quite big. So, and when I lift my arms up, the whole thing comes up. So that annoys me in some situations. If I'm wearing a dress, it's fine. If I have, like now, a t-shirt or if I've got jeans, it does get annoying if I'm cold. And then I lift my arm up and then, oh, it's so cold. And I haven't figured out how people adjust this. Like, you do the yoke and then you do some increases and then you split for the sleeves. And I'm wondering, is that where you change it? Do you just not do these increases and then it would be closer to your body? I don't know. Please help. But otherwise, I love this. As I said, I was dubious, but then I finished it and I haven't really taken it off. And the only times I have are because I feel guilty. Oh, my stage lighting has fallen over. Ah dear. The only times I have taken it off are because I feel guilty that I'm not wearing my Christmas jumper on the build up to Christmas. So every now and again I take this one off and swap it out for my Christmas one. And also when I go out, when it was minus like 5 degrees, I put on my Netlopi. This one is mohair, so I'm sure it's going to be warm, but I like to mix and match my jumpers in the day. So otherwise I would just live in one and then I'd knit all of these and then never wear them. So gotta mix and match. What else did I want to tell you? Oh yeah, so I'm sure many of you have heard me going on and on about my purling, so I decided I would try out a new purling technique. I'll give continental a try on my sleeves. And I thought, God, this is so easy. This is going so well. Turns out I was doing the Russian purl, which is essentially a twisted purl. Like you twist all your stitches. So in order to counteract that, you do the Russian knit stitch. So you knit through the back every time. And so I thought this was going very well. And to be honest, it does look nice. But as I will show you later, I continued on this journey and then discovered that, I wasn't doing the continental purl at all. I was doing it's also called Eastern or Russian or Eastern. So then I considered I wanted to call it method acting, and that's completely irrelevant. There's a special name for this, when you basically just combination method, maybe that's it. Combination knitting, where you kind of just combine your different techniques. So if you do the Russian purl, you'll do I'm not explaining this. Google it. Anyway, I have since taught myself continental purl. I'm not perfect by any means, but it's definitely improving. So yes, I have now done English purling, Norwegian purling, Russian purling, and continental purling. So let's hope the continental is my golden nugget of pearls, because I just want to enjoy purling. I want to have no pain. I want my garments to not be all floppy and loose because my pearls are so floppy. This is my wish, my Christmas wish, is that my purl technique has been found. Cross your fingers for me. Or I'm in Germany, so I'm meant to press my thumbs down. I'm learning this new colloquial, give up, words. Moving on. My half finished object is actually not moving on too far from this subject. I am knitting some Christmas socks. So last year I got some Christmas yarn and I was very excited. And then my whole learning how to do different purling techniques made my sock count and my sock stitches so loose, and the cuffs were too big, and it was all, I had to go so small on the needle size to be able to get a sock that would fit, that I ended up knitting 6-ply socks on like normal, like 3mm needles. So after getting stressed because I really wanted to wear my Christmas socks and knit them and wear them, I gave the continental purl a try. And here is also where I did the Russian without realizing. So you might be able to see it better in that line. Please don't fall over. I have wires all over my feet, desperately trying to get light from two sides of the room. Here are my Christmas socks. They are knitted with West Yorkshire spinners, Fairy Lights Sparky, and a contrasting colour, which I don't know what it was called, but it is also West Yorkshire spinners. And I cast on 56 stitches, did my accidental twisted rib, so it was knitting through the back loop and purling the wrong way. Not the wrong way, I shouldn't say that, you can still use that way, but the Russian way. You basically wrap the yarn the other way around to which you normally would. There I go again with normal. So it came out pretty tight and I was really nervous that it was going to be too tight, which is so funny because all of my Norwegian purling ribs have been so loose, they've just fallen off my shoulders. And anywho, so I did that on 2.25 needles on 56 stitches, and then I continued on my 2.25, but it's still kind of loose, and I'm not sure if it's just a different yarn because usually I use Regia sock yarn, or what's the other one? I don't know. I usually use a different yarn, and the stitches were tighter, but I also had done my sock knitting using my right hand and English style, so that could also be it. But if you look at the ball band for this, it recommends 3.25mm needles, and that would be enormous. And it is 4-ply yarn, not 6-ply. But if I did that, that would be as airy as this one. So who knows? Anyway, they do fit. They're a bit big. They're not massively big, but they're just a bit looser than I'm used to. And this is where I learned that I was doing the purl wrong, so I decided the heel, that'll be an excellent place to practice continental purling. And boy oh boy was it. I messed up my heel, which caused chaos, and then I ended up having to repeat this section so many times that by the end of it I knew how to do the purl. So it was a disaster and also a complete success. And I have learned that it's easier for me to do the purl on fingering weight yarn than it is on thicker Aran worsted, whatever Plutalopi Hell Double is. That's a lot harder for me. But hey ho, practice makes perfect. So yeah, 56 stitches, I have partridge heel. I went wrong because I messed up on the count somewhere. I was using my 6-ply sock pattern and it recommended a Dutch heel, but somehow my numbers were off, or I don't know, but it came out like minuscule. It was not going to sit nicely on my foot at all. So then I rediscovered my original 4-ply pattern, but that one ended on, like, this one ends on a wrong side and the other one ends on the right side, so I just pulled it out and it was a disaster because the Eye of Partridge is a like knit one, slip one, knit one, slip one, and I couldn't pick up my slipped and I got in a right palaver, but all is well. My sock has been rescued and I continued down, did the, I don't know what kind of heel, toe this is. Is it a wedge toe? You decrease and then Kitchener stitch here. So half finished object, and the next one is attached to my ball. So I've done the heel, just decreased to the foot. So I'm just gonna whiz up the foot now. She says whiz, like I'm a super fast and speedy knitter. But I'm nearly there. And then I'll have some Christmas socks that sparkle, but you can't actually see the sparkle, which is very sad. But there's sparkle. I didn't actually realise that I bought this. I mean, it was a Christmas present technically, but I ordered it and then my husband gave it to me. So I didn't realise that it had sparkles in it, but it was kind of a nice surprise. So got it last year, expected to finish them by January, and now it's December the following year, and they're nearly there. A week before Christmas, I've nearly finished my Christmas socks, which brings me joy because I have so many balls of sock yarn that I look at and have a mixture of joy because I love looking at my yarn, and then sadness that I can't knit any socks because my gauge is so wrong. But now we're getting there, getting closer to sock knitting time. So that is my half finished object. Anything else there? Nope. So my next, I need some tea first. Lots of wittering on. My next project is a whip that you haven't seen, unless you follow me on Instagram, which is also Emily Kate made this, and you may have seen it. This is in my little handmade project bag that I made sometime this year. Really cute little fabric, and then I lined it with monsteras or palm because I love plants, love monsters. Monsteras. I always call them monsters because I'm a child. So my project is the Melody Hoffman Wild Posy Jumper, aka Flora. There's Luna and Flora, and I'm pretty certain this is Flora. One has some lace details, very, very similar to this actually, and the other one doesn't. Don't know how much you'll see, might have to do some B-roll. I feel like I've been knitting forever on it, but I'm going between so many projects, it's not really a surprise that I'm not getting far. this is the top. Can you see it? Not really. I'll try adding some B-roll. So it is knit up with some more Pluktelopi. I hope the colour's coming out. My screen is so far away from me that I can't actually see if I'm in focus or if the colours are coming out. But hopefully they are. It's like a ivory beige kind of colour. And it is knitted on smaller needles than recommended because my gauge is a little bit looser. And oh, if I put that there, that might knock my lamp over. We're good. When I made my tulip by Melody Hoffman, I accidentally forgot the mohair strand when I was knitting. Big regrets. But anywho, the good news from that is that when I finished that, it was in 2 strands of Pluktelopi, and the gauge was wrong, obviously, but it was the right gauge for this one. So now I know if I use 5mm needles and Pluktelopi, I will get whatever the gauge is, 15 stitches or something. So didn't have to gauge swatch, not that I ever do, but at least I know this gauge is correct, so woohoo! And I have got to the 3rd textured section, so I've got the rest of the 3rd to go, the 4th, and then I'll split for the sleeves and it'll be stockinette and stockinette and hopefully a beautiful finished jumper very soon. Not sure if I'll get it done before Christmas, but there's no rush, so we'll see, maybe by New Year. It's pretty similar actually to the Ranunculus in a way. Obviously the yarn is different, but the kind of texture details are very similar. So it might be one of those jumpers that I turn into a summer t-shirt and then a different weight yarn for a different jumper, because apparently I have an issue with only owning one version of a jumper. I have to make it all the versions and all the yarns, which I suppose is okay, because then I get all the money's worth from my pattern. Anything else about that one? No, I've told you everything. I'll try and insert some closer video or pictures. But to me it just looks like a nice warm bowl of porridge, which is a little bit weird that I look at it and go, yum yum yum. But it's very fun. I think I'm doing a bit better now on my holding 2 strands of Pluktelopi and not tugging and then breaking the yarn, because my tulip I was getting in all sorts of a mess. I had a I had a shot glass that looked like vodka, but it was filled with water so that I could rub the yarns together and put them back when they broke, because it's unspun yarn. But so far I've only split the yarn twice, and that was because I sat on it and then lifted it up and thought, oh no. But it's fine, you can stick it back together. And I have a new pattern that into the wild, I believe, into the woods or into the wild, and it's gorgeous and I cannot wait to knit it. It's also Pluktelopi, but it's held single and I'm slightly scared by this. I don't know if it's, I don't know, I think it's going to break more easily, but I cannot for the life of me figure out how anyone substitutes a one-stranded Pluktelopi project, and I've googled it and I haven't got anywhere. I think the gauge is 17 stitches, 25 rows on 4mm needles, and I wanted to get an alternative because I want to make this for my mum. I'm not too sure she's going to cope with Pluktelopi Icelandic yarn, because I personally don't have an issue with the Letlopi or Pluktelopi. It's not scratchy to me. To me it's actually soft. And also mohair. I've watched so many people knitting with mohair and having issues and like sneezing and getting mohair in their food or up their nose, and I avoided it because it looked like such a hassle, but I haven't noticed any issue thank goodness. So much more mohair going to come into my life, I think. But anyway, I digress. Yeah, I want to get an alternative that is softer for my mum, but I can't figure out how to exchange it. So if you have any ideas, please let me know in the comments. And also if you're making this jumper, let me know, because I love seeing all the little foxes' heads growing as the yoke gets bigger. That was a bit of a digression. What else am I doing? My other whip is my Mystery Advent, my Mitten Mystery Advent by Nina. So if you are also doing this, she's a crafter's tale on YouTube and Instagram. If you're also doing it and you're not past clue 1, I know, clue 2 comes out in clue 4 comes out in 2 days, and I'm just starting clue 2. So I'm sure everyone who's doing it is miles ahead, but I got in a bit of a pickle, so here is clue 1. Get my face out of it and maybe turn it around. So I have mixed feelings. I very much enjoy using the Roima Finul, or Roima. It's very nice. I very much like this yarn. And I like the idea of a mystery, but I realised I'm quite a control freak, and I really don't like not knowing what's gonna come and which colour will be better, and yeah, I have control issues. And I have seen a sneaky peek of what it's going to look like, and I don't love it as much as her other patterns, but I did see them very quickly, and they were in bad light. So I quickly looked away because I didn't want to see it. But I'm going to persevere because I like everything she does. So I'm sure it would be nice. Will be nice. But also the pattern is a little bit confusing to me because I'm so used to patterns that hold my hand the whole way through, and I'm not 100% sure where I'm going now. I think I figured it out, but it doesn't mention about the thumb increases, but I think they're in the pattern. And I've never done colourwork mittens before, and I've never done colourwork mittens. So with thumb there, I'm a bit confused on the thumb and the chart that goes with the thumb, but I think I've got it. But I originally cast these on and I was a bit confused because there was no ribbing, but I thought when I looked at the rest of it, oh okay, I get it. So there's no ribbing, but it has this, and I have teeny tiny wrists. Look at the size of those wrists. So when I put this on, it's enormous. You can't even see how big it is. It's really big. So I'm not sure how well they're going to fit, but again, I'm going to persevere. Then the Latvian braid that everyone said, oh, it looks very scary, but it's really easy, actually drove me a little bit berserk because it was the first time I've done, it's kind of like colourwork on the purl side, but it's not really colourwork. But you do still have to twist your yarns, and it was that then I was learning to purl with my left hand. I was getting in a bit of a mess, and the yarns all twist around themselves until you go the other way, and then they untwist. But the twisting was driving me insane because I couldn't get my fingers through, and I was trying to pull the yarns separately to get them apart. Anyway, I'm making this sound very stressful, but basically it is easy to do the Latvian braid. It's just a bit finicky, and it put me off doing the second one, so that's why I procrastinated and did other things. But last night I thought I just want to get on to the second section where I actually do the mitten and the colourwork. I just have to pass this Latvian braid. So I've finally done it. And we're going, we are not, I am going to continue and do my colourwork, and hopefully by the next time I speak to you, which will almost definitely be after Christmas, I will have at least some progress on the colour work chart. So that is my Mitten, Mystery Mitten Advent Knitalong. I need a break. I'm actually getting a bit toasty. I'm also doing another mystery Knitalong, but I didn't write down the name of what it is, and I haven't got very far. It's a gnome Knitalong. I think it's called something like Where is Gnomeberry? I'll link it below. But I saw it on Finnish Knitting Stories, who I adore, and I'm mildly obsessed with watching all of her videos. And so much so actually that I watched a lot. Then I looked at her yarn store, yarn dyeing page. She's a podcaster who lives in Finland, and she has a yarn store and she dyes yarn and she sells yarn online. So I was having a little nosy. I was watching her videos, and then when I went to look up something on Google, all of my results were in Finnish. So I think I may have gone a little OTT on a back-to-back watching her videos. But I had a lot of stockinette, so I needed entertainment. But anyway, she had this really cute gnome that she made. And now I'm lost as to whether she did that last Christmas or this Christmas. But I joined this gnome Knitalong, but I don't have any spare fingering weight yarn. So I thought, I'll do DK weight. But then it says things like knit for 3 inches or knit for 5 inches. And I'm thinking that could be very different if the original gnome is knit in fingering and I'm making it in DK. Things might come out proportionally wrong. And also I don't like not knowing what colour the things are. It just says like contrast 1 and you just choose your colours. But what if I don't want the colour like that? So the control is coming back, like control freak. But I am trying to persevere. I have done the beard and some mystery long things. I called long things, potentially legs. But then the next part of the clue is an Estonian braid, and I thought I have to finish this Latvian one before I get interactive with an Estonian one. So now the Latvian is done, I will move on to my Estonian and hope that the proportions aren't wrong for that, because that's something. Making up a number, say it's 10 centimeters long. What if it's like a belt or something and then it won't fit around my more plump gnome? So yes, lots of things to worry about, which is very irrelevant in the big scheme of things, but hey ho. I will show you him, hopefully in January, when he's done. What else? Oh yeah, what I'm wearing. You've seen what I'm wearing jumper, obviously. I'll have to do a cut away of my skirt because you won't be able to see it. And even if I stand up, you won't be able to see it. Let's get creative. Here is my Peppermint pocket skirt. And it's a Peppermint magazine free pattern online. And it's called the Peppermint pocket skirt and has massive pockets. I'm now thinking I might have talked about this already. Anyway, here's another look. So they have these huge pockets, like massive pockets. And I used a viscose fabric, so it's all wishy-wishy. And it comes down to just above my ankles, because I'm short. Everyone else has higher up skirts. I'm 5'1" or 5'2". Everything's very long, and I didn't see the point in shortening it because I like longer skirts, especially because we go for walks in the forest and then I don't have to wear sun cream when it's all covered. So that is what I'm wearing, that is what I'm working on, that is what I finished, that's what I've almost finished, and I think my notes end there. So yeah, yeah, that's all my knitting content and sewing content. Wasn't exactly descriptive for my sewing, but it was a viscose fabric and free pattern. I don't really know what else to say. I really like it. Oh, it has an elasticated waist. I would really like to make it with a flat waist because I don't like how elasticated waists look on me. I don't know, they somehow like squeeze and make everything on the bottom and the top look way bigger than they actually are. I know that the idea is to have like an hourglass and you cinch in at the waist. But when I do that with elastic, it does somehow the opposite effect. But if it's fitted with a flat waistband, then I look like my normal shape and size. So if anyone else has made the skirt and have done a flat front, please share. How did you do it? Thank you. I actually had to use YouTube a lot for this. I'm not sure what it is. It's some kind of, what is the word? Is it kinesthetic? No. Kinetic? I don't know. When you learn visually, when I read a pattern, I just don't get it. I read a sewing pattern and I think, okay, it's in English and I understand all of these words separately. But then when I put them in a sentence, I don't get it. But then I watch someone on YouTube and they just go, okay, here's the right side and the right side, we put them together. I'm like, oh yeah, oh. And I couldn't figure out how to insert these pockets at all. And when I watched someone do a Knitalong, it all made sense. So I've now discovered this could be the reason I'm struggling so hard with German, because I read it and I read books and I try and understand it, but it doesn't go in. And then, yeah, I could go on a very long rant about my German abilities. Maybe let's leave that for another day. Anyway, I've been learning that I learn differently. Okay, so a little life stuff. If you've seen any of my excuse for a Vlogmas, I know I kind of left the party quite soon. I started with full excitement that I'd have lots to show you, but actually with my small but mighty following, didn't get that many views, to be honest, which isn't surprising. There's a bajillion new videos and lots of content and lots of Vlogmases that are very interesting, and I thought I'm not really doing that much and I'd like to record to make it interesting, and I wasn't feeling very well, so I wasn't able to sit down and chat and be enthusiastic. I was in my pajamas like all the time, and yeah, because it takes so much work to, like, it's fun, but it took so much work and so much energy, and I was really exhausted from being ill, I think, that I kind of, yeah, left the party a little bit early. But maybe next year, maybe not, we'll see. But I have been baking, so I made some delicious mince pies. They're delightful. So if you are interested, my Vlogmas, I think the second one, I talk about my mince pie making. And what else? And yesterday I made some fudge, and I love fudge. I always made this as a child with my mum, and my nan used to make it, and I believe her mum used to make it. So it's a very old recipe, and it's the one time of year when I welcome and embrace the sugar. Generally I don't eat sugar, other than cane sugar. I eat fruit and like things that have natural sugars, but I don't generally eat things with sugar. But when it comes to Christmas, the fudge is the big exception, and I love it. My teeth don't love it quite as much, but my soul loves it. So I made that last night. It's something I make with my mum every year. But obviously, due to Rona, can't be going to the UK. So she made it the day before, and I made it yesterday, and now it's sitting there impatiently waiting for me to eat it. And I genuinely thought as a child that by the time I was an adult, scratch and sniff TVs would exist. And if they did, I could waft it in front of your nose and you could give a little scratch and have a sniff, but sorry, doesn't exist yet, and I'm gonna eat it all, so. But anyway, yeah, it's very tasty, very nice, and there's lots to keep us going through the winter, so yum yum yum. What else? Yeah, Christmas is soon. I am pretty excited. I'm a bit sad in many ways. I'm sad because I can't be with my family, and also my Christmas presents that my parents sent got, I want to say lost, but they're not really lost, they're just not here and not there. They got to Germany, they stayed for 2 weeks, and then they've just been sent back because apparently they're not acceptable, but they won't tell us why. But they haven't arrived in the UK for us to see what the problem is. So Christmas presents didn't come. So I know I'm such a child, but a bit sad about that. But I did get some. I got some stocking presents, so at least Christmas morning we have a little bit of fun to open, because we call on WhatsApp or whatever we use, and have a video call like this and open presents and basically take the cameras around with us all day. So we sit and eat our Christmas dinner with a tripod in the middle of the table, so it looks like I can see all my family and they can see me and my husband. So it's going to be a bit of a weird Christmas, and a bit weirder than last year, but hopefully it's still nice. And my husband wants to open presents on the 24th, because in Germany you open them on the 24th, and in the UK you open them on the 25th. And I feel incredibly rebellious to open my presents before Christmas. Also, Santa comes during the 24th, like in the night, so how they could possibly be there in time, I don't know. But we shall open some presents on the 24th, and I already know what I have because I found it, I chose it, I ordered it, I kind of half wrapped it. I didn't really wrap it because I don't like using and wasting lots of paper and sellotape and stuff, but it's wrapped up in a manner and it's just sitting there, and I know it's there, and I'm so excited to open it and use it, and I will show you that all in January, or maybe between Christmas and New Year. We shall see. Yeah, very excited. What are you guys doing? I would love to know what your traditions are in your country. What are you going to do for Christmas Eve, Christmas Day? Do you open your presents on the 24th or on the 25th? And what foods, what tasty foods are you baking and making? I want to make everything. Last year I decided I would start the Scandinavian tradition of the rice pudding, but I didn't have any cream or milk. I don't really eat dairy that much. I'm trying slowly to introduce some, but I used coconut milk and it was so rich. My rice pudding was ridiculously rich. It was a struggle to eat it. So this year I'm going to try something else. But yeah, I love the idea of having this rice pudding and then leaving a little bit out for the gnomes. Gnomes or elves? I think gnomes. Gosh, I haven't researched this in a while. There must be some Scandinavians out there. You tell me, do you leave yours out for the gnomes so they don't, what is it? They play tricks on you if you don't feed them their rice pudding in the 24th, I think. Anyway, I'm just going off on a tangent now. Let us wrap this up. So, thank you very much for watching, and thank you for liking and subscribing and leaving your comments and messaging me on Instagram. It's so nice to interact with you, and it's really nice how we're building up this little community. It makes me very happy. So thank you. And if you are celebrating the festive season, Merry Christmas. And I hope you all have a lovely festive holiday time, and I'll see you possibly between Christmas and New Year, or after in January. So Happy New Year. Alright, thanks. Bye.